little late and a big headache. I do wonder. I do wonder if I've set this up properly. I have a color palette going on. And I have indeed. Okay. Oh no. Still a little bit sick. Can't wait to be done with being a little bit sick. And my goodness. Every time a Semdeath Jr. appears to put a little smiley face, and I see you've appeared to say the first message, meaty, super serious, top secret chat. I feel like I have to come up with like lighter lighter things to say to like 5 times in a row to come up with something. What do you mean don't shave your eyebrows? What if I have technique? What if I'm on it? What if I'm styling you? What do you never think about this? Dragon 2 Productions has appeared to say, I'm heading on my summer holiday right now and off to Ireland again in July, so yay. Also, Scrampton the Great says hi. Oh my goodness, Scrampton the Great. Tell Scrampton I said hi, and when are you going to pay me the money you owe me, Scrampton? And why is there an evil smiling face next to the normal smiley face? Hey, have a good time on your summer holiday, I hope, wherever you may be. Okay, oh no. Still coughing to death over here. Still coughing to death over here. As I have a very specific idea for what can be done on this canvas, I think. Hello to Half Lazy, saying, hey, I'm not going to be trying right now as I am working on my art fight profile. Honestly, yeah, that's in my head too. I've booted up this magma and I'm not going to be fully focused as I've proven that this does to me, but I hope that I'm gonna scribble out something art fighty right exactly now. So hey, good luck. You're saying might be in a bit Team Fossils, baby. Same though. Hello to Mimsa. How are you feeling today? What's new? What's good in the neighborhood? And okay, let's shuffle this around a little bit as my ideas about character design have now appeared to me in a dream or something. A dream and or a vision or something. If I just sort of mush a bunch of shapes together in the same canvas, then it's going to make sense. It's going to make sense. There's to saying you have a color palette. I wonder, whatever you're wondering, I have my doubts about it, which that seems like a large swing and a miss that I'm taking to to speculate about whatever you're wondering about and form an opinion on it before you've stated it. You're doing the digital artist thing again. Okay, so if this is supposed to make character designing faster, making a bunch of silhouettes, then I can't be putting it together quite slowly. They're saying you're having visions. Are you having enough water? Actually, no. Straight up dehydrated right exactly now. Every time I am presented with an opportunity to make my life, to make my day a little better, to make things go smoothly, I veer in the other direction, it would seem. I had opportunities to drink water before now. I've been drinking this one without putting my mouth on it, because I think that makes the bottle last longer. Hello to Nico Juju. Hello to you. How you feeling? What's going on? What's happening? And Half Lazy Art is saying, I'm also starting to add Shadow the Hedgehog to my background to match the theme each year. I'm Half Lazy Charlie on Art Fight, but my profile's under construction right now. Oh my gosh, very fun. I've participated in exactly 1 year last year of art fight, but it was fun. I set a reasonable, achievable goal and didn't overextend myself or nothing. And okay, so I want to copy this down, doing a little bit of copying, a little bit of copying, a little bit of notepad, and then there's, and ah, okay, you're asking for everyone else's users. I did manage to get the same username as my channel name, and and this amuses me to no end. You're saying to check the levels of carbon monoxide in the house. I actually have a carbon monoxide detector behind me, actually. There's something's happening. Kraken Tube saying, I also have plans to do art fight soon, so come soon. Oh my, how very exciting. Every time, okay, like I think last year I asked about whether the characters that you have to match the theme of whatever's going on, and it's really tempting to try to create something based on the theme, but also I don't even have a reference sheet for my own original characters. Just walked away for a moment to show you guys the carbon monoxide alarm. A little bit of an unboxing of this carbon monoxide alarm. Doesn't that look like the kind of gadget that you just want to leave unplugged on your desk to sort of tempt fate or something like that? This. So you're saying, of course you got your username free. It's a nonsensical keyboard smash, right? A little bit perhaps. I chose it based on some things like that. I have sort of been wondering about changing it to something mildly scammier, but I would need to consult a lawyer first. Alright, let's put this back. Well, hopefully that sets up perfectly just from being plugged in once more. And there's Heavily Zard saying, I don't have them all themed, but my comfort OC, I draw a themed piece if I get the time. Oh my gosh! That's very fun. That's very fun indeed. And like from the sound of things, like at first glance when I saw what the themes for Art Fight were, I had the feeling for some reason that more people would want to choose crystals than fossils. But then again, maybe the sort of amber little art that they did for fossils, maybe that is very warm and encourages people to do so. So I do wonder indeed. Okay, the hell am I looking at? Looking at exactly making some of these, making some silhouettes, and so I think that I would want to, I've done the thing. I think that I would want to have a thicker brush size because I think I want to fill this with a bunch of silhouettes that are going to dictate some, I don't know, guidelines or limits for character designing. I've realized something about designing characters lately, which is that although the Pixar animation sort of things for making your characters very distinctive, although that's very excellent, doing the shape language and all of that, even though that's pretty excellent indeed, I like a lot of characters that are not designed in that way. Like some anime characters are reasonably memorable and sort of function off the same base, at least compared to Pixar characters, shaping up their entire soldiers and things. There's Heflazy saying, tip, if you choose fossils, you can draw more crystals for more art. Oh my gosh. More points, not art. The principles and encouragement of art fight, indeed. I'm so curious now. I'm so curious now. There's Luther saying, what exactly do you mean by character design? What part of the character? Well, the visual parts, to begin with. Although in a very good character design, those should be directly indicative of the story parts. So character design in terms of it's very evident if you look at any Pixar concept art, the shape language and color language going into it, you know, having each character have its own distinctive silhouette, and I think that I think that was the only guide to character design. It's a very good one, but it was the only one that I saw for a little while. The only one that I saw, and so I had a weird reaction to it. I felt limited by it. There's Krakentube saying, did you read my comment anyways? Draw my Hoji Noelle from Deltarune? Oh, sure. Okay, wait, it doesn't. You have 3 comments in here. That one's not in here, so I guess I didn't. But sure, I've read it now. Let's draw a little Noelle. I'm doing this limited color palette business, so hopefully the things over here are not too absurdly flesh toned to be a furry character, because that's what Noelle is, right? Let's go to some Noelle holiday. Always go for reference image if you can. There's ask them the human characters or any kind of characters. Designing unique humans is harder than having species liberties. That was honestly part of the realization. Pixar is kind of limited in what they do or in their character design principles. They have it that way because they make a lot of characters with 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, and a torso. So you're gonna wanna squish and squanch whatever's going on there. And I cannot emphasize enough how much that works and is good, but is not the right point for me to start from. But yeah, I just need to start designing less human characters so to have a distinct and fun kind of a time. Noelle holiday, what do you look like? This doesn't feel too flesh toned to be a Noelle holiday. It feels there. Sneeko Juju saying random, but I just shared an OC of mine on the server because why not? And then Leviathan appearing, and instead of a hello, instead of a how are you, instead of a good day, we get a damn. Y'all remember Balzac the snake? I don't know, Leviathan. Hi. Hi to you. There's like you're saying. It also depends on the style. If you go for something cartoonish, you have way more liberty than going for realism. And liberty, as I keep continually finding out as I make little two-toned little sticky note little arts and whatever, liberty is maybe not for me. Which is one hell of a sentence to say, but I do get overwhelmed by options. Let's look at this. Let's look at some original characters. Whatever goes on your OCs and your role plays. And your art is by another one of your friends. Oh my. A void driver indeed. Wow. Looking scrungly. Is this like a tough individual? Is this like a tough sort of fella? Wow. Fun times over here. What's the story going on here? You have a picture of Balzac, this snake, dangling from your wall. Interesting. And there's Kraken2 saying, last comment for 10 minutes, but do you like other TV channels from different countries, like the French channel, France 3, German RTL, British? Oh, I don't think. I think that in Burgerland, the America country in which I am, it's a little bit tough to stumble upon other places' TV channels organically. Um, my girlfriend showed me a website where you can listen to radio stations from all over the world, though. They are playing Chapel Roan in Sweden, is what I learned from that. And they are having radio in North Korea as well. Very interesting, very international. Alright, here is this sort of a shape. This is too meaty. This is too meaty for a Noel holiday. ah, there's. You're saying that Balzac the Snake is your first ever OC. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Also, so why have you rate limited your amount of comments? I swear, there's truly not a rate limit that I will enforce. Here we have more of a face shape, chin shape, something. There's cooking with the first OC of Balzac the Snake. This is where artists support artists by the Balzac. Alright, what the hell am I looking at in here? Trying this in a limited color palette, but is this going to be absurd, I wonder? Is this going to be very curious or strange, I wonder? Okay. I started watching somebody's Undertale playthrough enough to destroy my sleep schedule about it. Honestly, hence the late-ish streams these past couple of times. Started watching somebody's Undertale playthrough, and it really reminded me that when Undertale came out, I just watched everyone's possible perspective, and so I could see all the possible roots and every human emotion that you can have in response to them, and I have not done that for Deltarune, so it is a little bit funny encountering the mild spoilers of something spooky happens to Noel, and then and then being robbed of context on how that gets there. I know that there's a bad route, but I still don't know what exactly it entails other than roping Noel into questionable actions. You like Gilbertly or something. I can see why people would do that. But, youch, ooh, no, very spooky. There's, if I'm destroying my sleep schedule even more, you're still working on the super top secret project. Wait a second. Have you Uno reversed this on me? I thought you had a super top secret project. Is it me now? Was it me all along? Oh God. There's, you did a super top secret project. Oh wait, no, you did the bad route of Deltarune. Here I am interpreting things in various ways. Wow. Okay, last week, the news from you is you haven't played Deltarune before or something like that. This week you've gone completionist on it. I'm very intrigued and and wondering how exactly I want to interact with Deltarune. I probably people's playthroughs is the way that I want to do this. Hello to my girlfriend who is watching the stream. Hello to you. It's the real super top secret project, the Deltarunes we made along the way. It's weird for me to think about. Okay, here's some massive eyeballs that I'm putting on this, but we could go more pale unless this is the hair color. No, okay. A limited color palette, this makes sense. And another thing that keeps happening to me is that on Thursday is the day that I'm considering changing the stream time to Friday or something. I still have a comic update. That goes on there. What secret project was I doing? Oh, you're getting salutations. My dear girlfriend is getting salutations. There's who saying, I haven't played Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4, but you did play the first 2 chapters. And why is my throat so itchy? It's different from it being dry. How am I doing this? The top secret thing you told me in top secret chat. The last secret chat was so incredibly information dense that I almost get mixed up indeed. Honestly, I feel like as I try to find interests and various things take my attention, I find that they wane and wax and stuff. This is the vaguest way I could possibly state something, isn't it? I guess the answer is that I keep trying to write. I tried to write a little bit, but it was like at 1 or 2 a.m. Okay, none of this is forming into the sentence that I wanted it to form into. I am encouraged to write lately, turning into full stories and such like that. I like the way these little eyes are going. Very stylish out here. And the limited color palette comforts me. I should do this for absolutely everything. I do wonder if that's what's going to get me to finish a story as well. Having limits, because I keep reflecting that as far as creativity goes, if I don't have a set amount of limits, then I freeze up and don't do anything. Yeah, Noelle is happening. There's halfway saying BBC Code is annoying me, so I'm gonna do some silly drawings. Were you making your entire web page? Because I am struggling to. Okay, entire like custom web page for Artfight. I am struggling to know what the acronym is. Was it a typo of because? I'm in the trenches. I'm in the trenches out here mentally. Physically, facially, I look completely normal. Mentally, I'm in the trenches. Here we have a little bit of it. Oh, okay, wait, looking at this, it absolutely reminds me that there should be more characters with some fun buck teeth. Just for any reason. Go like this, What's your sprite look like? Ah, that's cute. There's... Okay, Happily saying I was trying to find a good code, but they're all a pain to work with. Oh. I have kind of wondered about learning code as a friendship enhancer, like if in some sort of rudimentary type of way, because my accountability partner that I've known for like 2 or 3 years has like disappeared, and I sent like a couple of updates, and I know the disappearance is probably for like very important event planning reasons and not just an ordinary sort of disappearance or alarming sort of disappearance. I know it's for that, but also I am getting the feeling that if I were to somehow put a programming tool into existence, then that would be a reason to talk to each other again. There's. Hello to Patrick State. Hi. Hey, been a minute. What's new with you? I have no idea what language I would want to code in. Probably something extremely simple, because the purpose is just to make like a little planner. The purpose is to make a little planner that shows you just the entire year, so you like fill in each year day of the month with a little bit of color to show whether you did a task or not that day, and then you flip between pages of it, the different pages of the same year, to log your different habits and stuff. Yeah, just a habit tracker. So that's the purpose that I'm starting in mind with. You're saying that lots of new things are happening. Your daughter turned 100 months old. Is 100? I know that I just spoke. How many years is 100 months? Okay, so that's not inconceivable. That's quite conceivable. That's simply 8 and a third of years. There's Krakentube saying 10 minutes are up. You did well on Noel, aka my Hochi Mama. Good job. Also, do a recreation of the ITVBE logo, since that recently closed in the UK. It's a reality channel. And there's Patrick State saying, would the habit tracking calendar be on the web? I guess an app feels invasive sometimes. So yes, that's the best way to just show it to everybody, being on a website. In my mind, it seems very simple, but starting from a place of absolutely zero knowledge, it's not simple whatsoever. But basically, hello and congratulations to things happening in life. Okay, I'm looking at a reference image of this character. The limited color palette is going better than I thought that it might, and I'm quite encouraged about that. Quite encouraged about that indeed. So, one of these is more green than the other. Neither of these are green whatsoever. Okay, keep the same amount of gray and just go on over here. There's Krakentube Production saying, continuation of your comment, you're saying that, okay, ITVBE logo, or UK TV channel, was replaced by a game show called ITV Quiz, and all the shows moved to its rerun channel and a streaming service. My goodness, it sounds to me as though your life is being completely uprooted entirely, at least in terms of TV channels. So what would this look like exactly? ITV, but also a BE on it. And it's on Logopedia. Just show them an ordinary logo. It's, so I'm looking at writing here, looking at writing to be precise, words, verbiage, and there's Leviathan saying you should totally see the art channel right now. Okay, sure. Patrick saying, would you have a database backend? I guess if it's just for you, then you don't need one of those. Huh. I guess I would start with for me and then for another person, which could be pretty small. And in the midst of wondering what skills we will learn, we see a little bit of the art of Balzac the snake. Hey, perfect. Hey, excellent. Hey, is this in fact peak? I dare say. So you say it. But I'm having the absolute base zero knowledge of anything, so it's tough to even determine what I may need. And, okay, pretty standard. Doing it with files or something may be more trouble than it's worth. I cannot even conceive of how much trouble I may be in for. What? How can I, it's not necessary to try to describe the level of coding knowledge that I have right now. It's not necessary to try to describe that because I feel that Zero describes it well enough. But I don't know, I've tried at various times to look at people's tutorials. Scrungly Birdly character. It has appeared and it has disappeared. Oh my. A lot of Deltarune characters shall hang out over here. It's strange thinking about the different tools that have come out. I tried one that was like Alice, had some strange like 2000s 3D models going on, and then hopped into Khan Academies one time. And this is the part where I wonder if I should seek some kind of attention deficit diagnosis, because I can't ever remember making it past one lesson, not because anything was wrong or hard or difficult, but just because just a matter of losing focus. And there's like saying, Jaro, you should learn to code in brain fact. There's only 8 commands, very easy to learn. This seems like a trap. When you say that something is easy to learn, is that programmers speak for you're going to spend hours on this and you're not going to know what you did. Okay, what do I want for a plaid pattern actually? I've been rounding it out, but you're fine with squares and rectangles legitimately. And then there's... Oh, right. I wanted to ask this as well. Is this the logo you were talking about? If I zoom all the way in. On this. You were talking about this logo? The Kraken Tube Productions. When you speak of logos, is this one? Or maybe the one on the bottom? I cannot tell. There's Patrick State with the life updates. Let's hear it. You're saying right now, I'm living the life of a Rolling Stone. I'm on my laptop in a hostel in San Diego at the moment. Last week I was in Las Vegas and Baltimore. Oh my goodness. 2 sides of the country in 1 week. Now that has got to be a little bit tiring. Okay, Kraken Tube Productions confirming for me. And here I go, a little bit sick, as I cough to death and look at magnificent art of a Berkeley. It would shame an individual for not owning an air fryer, wouldn't he? What does my girlfriend say over here? Messages I have missed. Talking about fun joke coding languages. But if I'm learning something, my dear, if I am learning something and then I feel bad at it and unsure of myself, as is a natural part of the learning process, and if I learn a joke coding language for the very first one, then aren't I the joke? Won't I feel like a joke? Hee hee ha ha, but who's laughing? And I mean, it sounds fun though. Okay, you talk about Neocities. Okay, that is encouraging though, thinking about Neocities. And oh my gosh, the things that people make. Alright, an ITVB. What in the world? Strangely, I'm already drawing in a color similar to this, or with a color similar to this. As Patrick State talks about, just looking for work where I can get it and moving around. It is remarkable to think about people's ability to work from anywhere if you have the computer-based sort of jobs now. I know a couple of people who do this, and it's it's I don't know, I like the possibilities of it. Indeed. Have these faces evolved or started perishing over here? Is that what has happened? This looks like a salt shaker, since I have drawn no limbs. Digital nomad, that is the word, isn't it? A sort of adventurous spirit. I think that my dad did that instead of having a midlife crisis, or maybe there's no definition, no instead of exactly. A logo is requested, but what do we do with this logo for this channel that I haven't watched? Well, my first instinct is to try to draw this out as smoothly as I can. A little bit like this, a little bit like this, and this. Huh. I feel like this could be a couple of things. You cannot be serious. Okay, so you were okay. It's the top of the hour, which means that the strange scheduling thing is happening to me, wherein I try to be the first to read one of my favorite webcomics the second that it comes out, so that my superior comments can be the first that everybody sees. This is my full and unabashed reasoning. Let's get in here. For half the year, one of my favorite webcomics did not update, so the Thursday streams were not any sort of a issue. We just continued on. And now, it has returned. So, okay, YouTube users, you are telling me that BrainVac is an actual coding language? You cannot be serious, and yet I know that it is serious. There's KrakenTube having some kind of an event indeed. Here's all of this, not exactly in the font, and here I go back into the webcomic sort of application to see if I am the very first one. It always loads an advertisement before these, so it's a little bit different. So you've said that I should learn the programming language BrainVac because it's very simple, or else you're leaking my private information. You make it sound like social security's numbers. There's okay, what are you lying or not lying about anyhow? I can't conceive of any of this. Can I? Okay, this doesn't happen to me all the time, and depending on your experience of the internet, you might not experience this at all. But is it just me, or are mobile advertisements getting just increasingly more obnoxious and invasive? I still don't quite know what I want to do for these. This is a part of the reason why I think I might want to switch streams to Fridays once more. Because there's lore happening in my favorite comic, which also does have a limited color palette now that I'm thinking of it. Whoa. New character introduction happening, but in mysterious silhouette. I'm quite excited about things that happen in my favorite stories. brand you're talking about. Gotta hate ads in general. Yeah, there's not really any such thing as a as a perfect or a good one. There's some that are more palatable, but my little brother in particular hates even looking at an ad and will do anything to avoid them. What other most interesting and intriguing things can I think of for this comic while I'm early? Mostly just that it's completely intriguing how it's all developing. And CrakenTube is saying, awesome remake of the logo. Also, between these channels, they share idents known as multiverse idents. When you say multiverse, it sounds to me as if you're personifying the channels in some way, in some type of way. I'm excited whether this is an ally or other character. What are good types of comments to leave? The lore drops lately are absolutely feeding me. Things that are true, things that are many. Why does it say the Lord when I text to speech? Someone should tattoo this Birdly on them, scribbly as it is. And then there's... I have now utterly destroyed whatever train of thought I was having. It feels fine though, because I have viewed excellent art in this comic that I admire very much. There's like stylized ways of drawing the hair and such. This has been like up on my board behind me in sticker form the entire time. And there's some hellos happening and wondering of streaming things. And Patrick State asks, what is true and meaningful? Hey, it's a good thing to ask at any time. For some reason, my first instinct is to sort of counter that with a question, True and meaningful for what purpose and in what sense? And I'm disconnected from my business here, being exposed on stream. Whenever I see something happening in the Discord and I'm on the stream, I'm going and clicking on it. I am very sorry. I'm sorry about that. Hello to you, Roxy. For some reason, I want to say your profile picture could be a Tally Hall album cover, but I don't want to say that confidently because it's been a moment since I looked at some. True and meaningful. I'm just stating the idea, thinking on it. I guess for contrast, one would want to identify what is false and meaningless. False and meaningless. Some things that are meaningless are not necessarily false. Some things like I've been casually keeping up with, just like to a mild degree, the election for mayor in New York City. I don't live there whatsoever. And when I think about someone like my mom, who is both not aware of it and not inclined to keep up, and I haven't told her about it in any capacity, she's gonna keep on living her life regardless of what happens there, because we are geographically completely far away, I want to say. So that's something that is true and meaningless. I say as if the only way to uncover the truth is by is by process of elimination. I don't know, let's put that into a grid. You're after intentionality in art. Okay, yeah, art. Art is an excellent way to narrow things down. I see people tackling this question more often, especially as AI AI images sort of become more common and inescapable and unable to be dismantled. The genie's not going back in the bottle, etc., etc. And so I've seen a comic about that just today. Someone's little Reddit comic, hand drawn naturally, cause what you gonna do? Let's have a true axis, untrue over here, true and meaningful, and you had pinned it down, I guess, true and meaningful as in the opposite of AI generated slop. And I saw, like, in that person's comic, which is still it's probably still on Reddit, exactly, because I just saw it this morning. In this person's comic, she said that success would no longer have meaning, if everything were achieved with ease. But I've been reading, and I feel like this was sort of addressed in the comic as well. I have been reading a lot of webcomics for a couple of years, and there's a lot of lowest common denominator stories out there. The Transformers movies by Michael Bay came out before AI. That is a little bit funny to think of the Transformers movies as maybe being AI slop because they're about a robot and they are slop, but they were human made. Okay, anyway. Okay, so here's true, and can I get some pressure sensitivity? Am I connected? Am I connected to this still? My goodness, freeze up on me, why don't ya? Freeze up on me, why don't ya? Okay, what have I missed over here? So there's Tally Hall, Good and Evil Happening, and KrakenTube informing us that ITV4 has retrofuturistic idents and ITVB has reality idents. When people start using very specific terminology, I sometimes have the urge to let them know that when you put these words at me, it brings up absolutely zero mental images in my head. You are attempting to communicate something to me, and it is not working. It is not happening. Let's have some meaningful, let's just have like M plus and M minus for meaningless, true, false. So this is a long consideration to give these, and I feel a bit peculiar that the thoughts are, I don't know, coming about so slowly. There's saying eventually the elections will matter, I guess. Like, I guess AI art can be meaningful, it just often isn't because it's so easy to make. You see people's impulses there. It's like the equivalent of small talk, I want to say. Like, meaning and poetry can be contained in a couple of sentences, maybe even a couple of sentences you say passing by someone in the morning, or well, that would be a great time to have more of the sentence that I was formulating, but I guess I don't have that in me today. Meaning can be contained in short ways, but usually that's not what we use small talk for. Usually, small talk is off the top of someone's head, you know? And AI images are often that same kind of thing. As Patrick Stay's saying, I only saw the first Transformers movie. I was frustrated with it because it had a teenage femme fatale. Oh, completely fair indeed. Completely fair indeed. I want to say, as someone whose parents took me to the movies like a whole lot because we're, I don't know, a movie loving family. Movie loving family indeed. I saw too many of them and they did get worse. They did get worse. Oh, okay, so idents are the UK version of bumpers. Thank you. Sorry to diatribe on you a little bit about specific terminology. So, if we're going to consider the AI images false and also meaningless, then maybe one would want to put some specificity on it. If you're having like propaganda, ooh, Shrimp Jesus. I don't know if you've seen that. I don't know if you've seen the AI images of Shrimp Jesus, but I will say in its original context, these weird little Facebook post things that are just getting shared around, and they are what's AI generated to the point where, some YouTuber went, why is this being shared? Here's all of this. And here's a little beard. Here's a little beard so you can have Shrimp Jesus. Okay. And so to say, one good thing I did is to uncover the people who don't really care about art. The ones that use AI unironically never really cared about art or the craftsmanship. Unfortunately, it's a lot of people. It is kind of incredible to see what types of humanity the pushback to AI art has uncovered, you know? The humanity of artists supporting each other in community ways. You're killing me out here. The fact that people still support artist commissions and it's this way of being connected to actual creativity, supporting someone and just sort of, I don't know, keeping up a tradition almost. That's it's strange to think that commissions now have that dimension. Shrees is fried for your sins. Oh my gosh. And then I look back at my phone to see what's happening as I am told about joke programming languages and sent images, glorious images of Birdly and of also Spamton. Spamton offering me an air fryer for the low price of $35.1997. I love you to pieces. I love you to pieces. Here's Hijinks Arcade appearing to say, hey, how's it going? I've determined that false and meaningless is the type of AI picture shared exclusively for incomprehensible ideological content farming. I feel like a lot of discussions try to pin down what exactly makes art. Is it heart? Is it soul? Is it effort? But then human beings have been making art for long enough that whatever definition you land on, I think you might run into something that a human has made that falls outside of your definition of meaningful art. And however, if it is made as part of a content farm, the sheer full force fire hose of velocity for it, it's No human does that. And I feel like that can be solely, indisputably, in the category of false and meaningless. Which still makes me want to fill out the rest of the square. Okay, false and meaningful. Things that are false and meaningful are meaningful because they have some truth in them to me, but also I guess just all of fiction. So let's just put a symbol of Undertale up in here, some of my favorite fiction. Without perfectly pixeling that, it really looks like it's bubbling. You need to see a cardiologist about that one. Alright, what things have I missed over here? You think you saw Shrimp Jesus on John Oliver? That might be it. My god, famous YouTuber John Oliver. I might have seen it there too. Yeah. Okay, so there's talk of Scottish Irishness and what it means for TV adverts. There's talk of a Jesus fried that rice, and you're asking if Shrimp Jesus isn't AI generated. The Shrimp Jesus that I'm talking about specifically is, unless you're messing with me. So there's talk of Deltarune and Deltarune playing me. Okay. One might say it played me. I do have my original playthrough open. God, my strange little hair buns. I still have those, and by those I mean the hair that I chopped off my head in that year specifically. I have it in a jar still. My girlfriend requests that I share the art with you. Here's this most incredible to look at this. We are being artisanal together. You've heard of legs for days, get ready to have nose for years? Something's certainly happening here. The tribute to the Birdly on the magma is what I'm guessing is going on here. A little bit of the Noels, I'm thinking, going on here, but then again, I haven't played chapters 3 and 4, so it's tough to tell. Krakenthulb giving us a finishing blow of this. You're saying, and finally, formerly on BBC One, yet another British channel, except without ads. The BBC is known worldwide. I've sometimes seen their news. During some game shows they are producing with the National Lottery, and during the shows they have lottery drawings. I am struggling to extract meaning from the actions I take in my own life. And so I wish that I could have some type of emotion as I find out this information, because I want to be more worldly. I want to know things that other people do. But I'm curious to know where this is going. Just that some channels end. As far as like bumpers and stuff, my familiarity with them is from being part of college radio for a minute there. I am deeply curious. Krakenthulb Productions, I am deeply curious. What in the world goes on there? Patrick State is telling us commissioning art is harder now. Back in 2012, I could have fun on DeviantArt working with artists for like $48 to $64. Now everyone on Hungry Artists wants in the hundreds. What in the world? Hey, I've seen people in the under hundreds range. What was it to cross my? Maybe it's on Tumblr. Maybe I'm on Tumblr. Maybe it's a sampling where your audience is coming from. Cause I've only seen in the under hundreds range. Somebody over in our dear Kai, pillar of the community, was commissioning some excellent full quality arts. Here you go with the One Piece characters. All under 100 apparently. So Tumblr and Twitter or Blue Sky maybe is where you want to be looking. 'Cause I have seen people do the art worth 768. It hasn't made me suddenly have 768 to give to them, but also no. So let's talk about Princess Leia cosplay and talk of Mary Hersharo. Hello to my dearest girlfriend. Telling me that in Mother Russia, Deltarune plays you. Hey, it could happen to anyone. Okay, what in the world am I missing here? Because I'm getting a little bit of lag, a little bit of stylus not so happening. So true and meaningless could be something like pure math. Huh, true and meaningless. Pure math. Where is this weird sentimentality in my heart for the idea of pure math coming from? Because, okay, maybe it's from the last, like, sciences related class that I took, where they talked about pure science, where science can be considered pure if it's just for its own sake. What's a symbol of minding your own business and it has nothing to do with you? Because I feel like meaningfulness is completely subjective. Meaningfulness is completely and utterly subjective. So what would one do? Simply take a sample size of all the people, take a survey of people, and whatever concept gets the least amount of interest or relevancy to human life, then that goes here. Well, I've drawn something that looks like a little bug or turd, which okay, yeah, there's plenty of room here. And now if I put some math symbols, the last ones I saw from drawing them here, apparently, it begins to look slightly mustache and character-like. Alright, what am I looking at? Hijinks Arcade saying, art is made from thoughts and emotions, and from a desire to share experiences. AI isn't art because it is none of those things. It's a soulless homunculus of other people's work, and is taken from elsewhere, which is why it's also theft. And there's and also mentioning how you ate this really spicy curry recently and it took me out so bad. What's happening to me on the Reddits is that sometimes I go to r/all and the ChatGPT subreddit is being suggested there, and what they are doing there is illustrating their lives with the picture making machine over and over again is what seems to be happening. Sort of a chainmail meme sort of experience. So it is, because it is reflective of what they are actually doing in their lives, I can only think of those images as being as meaningless as either a social media post or their actual lives. Is what's happening there. Kraken 2 Productions is telling us, I'm now utilizing my phone to comment also, do you like British lottery draws? They have existed since 1994 with the National Lottery on BBC One from 1994 to 2017 and online from 2017 to the present. It took them a minute to get online, did they? I think that British people should probably just be used to as like inspiration for a Disco Elysium sequel. But only as one of the components. You can't really have it outbalancing everything else. So that's the lens through which I care about British lottery draws. Otherwise, it does fall into things that are true but are not meaningful to me. There's Patrick saying, I think dismissing all AI art as devoid of emotion and meaning comes from resentment for it for taking a lot of money out of the art world. It's like, it is remarkable to me how emotionally charged the situation is going to stay, Because, here's your livelihood. all your artists, your livelihood shall be threatened. It shall be taken away. Everything, all the decades that you poured into it of doubting whether you're good enough just to finally almost be good enough. It's all coming into doubt. And I don't have sympathy, I guess, for people who are confused by the bad reaction to AI art. There is no reason to be confused by the bad reaction. I just think it should be perfectly obvious. I think it should be understood. There's KrakenTube saying, "Did you read my earlier comment I did a couple of minutes ago?" Well, one of them did not show up. So what have we got here? That you have your phone, there's lottery draws, and then before you had your phone, there was game shows and lottery draws still, and then before that there were you are Scottish Irish. That's what I've got so far. And now you're saying the draws usually occur at night, and on Lotto to start the draw they say, "Let's release the balls," and the balls get dropped into the machine. And Alan Dedicote is the announcer. He is so cool. Alright. Well, now that I know that they say, "Let's release the balls," and someone named Alan is there and is so cool, now I feel positively about this. I am glad to be exposed to this experience that I would otherwise not know about. I will tell you about something that I saw on my farthest reach of the world yet, the farthest place I have traveled, which I guess I will say is Manila. And they have massive billboard of K-pop boys because I guess K-industry is international and taking over. And on foggy days, it's the light of these enormous, like, multi-story, huge advertisements. It takes up a big square of the sky, as if reality has a little glitch in it, but the glitch is entirely made of K-pop boy. And then a smaller billboard, but also multiple stories high, next to it in the fog, is advertising what I guess is the concept of Catholicism, and has very gorgeous, because that's what they're known for, gorgeous artwork. And this image of a crowded city with these things in the middle of them. This is what I give to you in exchange for this knowledge of British lottery drawings. So the discussion of these images ramps up. So it says, "Not all art is made from thoughts and emotions," though I think that's kind of a fallacy. What happens if you find art genuinely completely devoid of context? Does it have meaning for you? Can you spot the emotion? Okay, context may depend. I want to say some of the more meaningless art that I have seen is for the more cookie cutter, and this feels bad to say because I know that this was real art, but the cookie cutter webcomics, dime a dozen pulp fiction type of things that I have read, the ones that have a sort of recyclable plot, predictable plot, it's the isekai that you've seen a million times before. It's the same 3D assets reused but put onto somebody else's drawing. It's taking what shortcuts you can as a comic artist, copy and paste to try to gain some of your life back from labor. Not every panel in a comic, every panel in a comic could be emotional, but that's extremely rare, and those comics lead to incredible amounts of burnout. Not every panel in a comic, even if it's hand-drawn, is meaningful and emotional. So there's YouTube is also this comment, and the Lotto one, and Hijinks Arcade saying artists are people that want to share personal emotions and experiences. And then there's a talk of, artists are the peddlers of false memories. Fun times. And so, although although the comics that I'm talking about, they communicate something. I've read so many where what they're communicating is it barely meets a threshold for meaning, I would say. Somebody, and this feels horrible to say because people have risked their health to become these artists of meaningless comics. They've gotten carpal tunnel, they've gotten burnouts, they've gotten 80-hour work weeks to make the most mid thing that you've ever forgotten you've read. And I'm not gonna say with 100% certainty that the thing that you've waged, slaved, and broken your wrists for had more meaning and life-changingness and communication and human experience as art than somebody's picture generation sort of thing. And this automatically points us to the common denominator being that meaningless art is what causes our human communication to be sort of exploited and corrupted under capitalism. Say the buzzword, say the buzzword, say the buzzword. What we do under capitalism. We're exploited under capitalism. That is where our meaninglessness comes from. For selling some part of whatever you're doing, selling your genuine effort, your blood, sweat, and tears for something not very meaningful whatsoever. And, okay, what things have I missed now? Patrick State saying, in the Renaissance, artists made pictures of heaven and God, so the illiterate masses would have false memories of obeying the church and getting rewarded. There's an enormous amount of history to consider here, right? And there's, saying that it was made by a computer, and do we think that people are making art for the church reasons? It is such a trip to come across a really good artist in modern times who is having what they describe as a literal autistic hyperfixation on the on literal Jesus, but then also conflates it with Odysseus. It's what the artist Wolfie the Witch. I get such a kick out of that. And so it is saying, is corporate art the one that has been used by soulless corporations for years now, made to share emotion or experiences? That's my point. Any form of art can be slop. And you're saying art is culture, and Kraken 2 production. And Kraken 2 Productions comes in with a steel chair to tell us, here's also 2 lottery shows for you to watch on YouTube. In It to Win It, where you answer questions to put money in the jackpot, and National Lottery Stars, another show with music, and Dale is there. Well, you had such a glowing review of Dale. Oh, I have to know what Dale is. I'm writing things down in my notepad today, finding out what Dale is. My God. There's Patrick Stay saying, in the modern world, artists make romantic comedy movies and webcomics. They mostly just tell people what they want to hear, rather than accurate depictions of reality. That's another fascinating angle, too, and one that I keep continually thinking of and overthinking as I try to formulate what it is that makes an interesting story as I read through every popular identical story that gets success. What makes an interesting story? So telling people what they want to hear can reveal something true and beautiful about humanity too. Or true and ugly about humanity. It doesn't have to be one or the other as far as what you take from it. Okay, I'm looking up on the YouTube, so I'm gonna close this, I guess. Started from chapter 1. Yeah, I guess all I'm gonna do is rewatch my own playthrough on my own time and get that out of there. National Lottery Stars. What does this look like, Kraken 2 Productions? So wish fulfillment types of comics and movies and romances in all of this media stuff. I think it does reveal something about the human psyche. It reveals things about what you're conditioned to find acceptable, and therefore what you allow yourself to find desirable within that context. I think ContraPoint's video on Twilight, just hear me out on that one. Just hear me out on that one. One of the most meaningful videos. I quote it all the goddamn time in internet arguments, not in real life, because the words do not deserve to be butchered. They deserve to be the copied and the pasted. Alright, there's what he's saying. This comes from me as an artist. I've produced genuine non-AI art, completely devoid of emotion and thought. And yet, some of your scribbles, not to argue against everything you say, not to be the contrarian, YouTube users like big. Some of your scribbles, you may think of them as meaningless, but if they have been on the magma, then they've been sort of communicated to somebody in sort of a game, and it has as much meaning as playing a hand clap game together when you scribble together on magma. And there's Dale. Okay, if I look around here, am I gonna see a Dale? I'm seeing one of the Dale, but the Dale that I want to see is okay, this is a Dale that I'm seeing, but I want to see Alan Dedicoat. I want to see your fellow. Is this an entire episode? We must not get copyrighted. Let's go over here. Well, okay, is one of these going to be your man? Is one of these going to be Alan? Or have I forgotten names already? Am I seeing somebody and are they Alan? I'm seeing so many people. Any of them could be Alan. This is terrible. My God. Alright, what am I looking at? Okay, so there's art, thoughts on these, and KrakenTube saying, okay, I'll stop now, the comments will end, goodbye and good night. You've gone just before telling me whether I've found Alan. Well, okay. Alright, so there's talk of, making art of things that you want to see. What was that in relation to? And Patrick State is saying, I think the key to good literature is for the author to be passionate about something. Oh, I have too many definitions of good and too many definitions of meaningfulness. Because when I think of what could be meaningless, and we posit that maybe pure math goes into the true and meaningless category, then I can't help but think up somebody whose passion is doing true math, is being theoretical about it, is just solving the puzzles, and then that would mean that if I were to look that person in the face and ask them, is it meaningful or not? I mean, it's meaningful to them. It's meaningful as a puzzle book or a coloring book, I suppose. Although they would probably hate to hear me say that. Let's go around this canvas. Let's see what happens. Oh my. Enthusiasm for art fight may happen. Some realizations of you being gay may happen. How excellent. How marvelous. And this little drawing of Noelle is completely salt shaker core due to having no limbs. And then it's been a minute since I looked at my phone. And my girlfriend is here. You propose to show me a true math art, legit art? I wish to know. And what was before that? You... Why? I've only just now seen the message that you're drawing Spamton Big Naturals, that you have in fact drawn Spamton Big Naturals. Oh no, the weight distribution is making me think Spamton's Big Unnaturals. Did you just become Hochi Mama? Oh, my 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 girl of all time, doing only the most premium art. I feel like this is the it's a really super necessary and I say this in complete seriousness. This is vital to the conversation. There's talking about how true math can be art. I now wonder if true math can come from a computer. Okay, so there's the passion talking about, and wondering. Okay, art comes from emotions and thoughts. When most art comes from there, but not the AI art. And there's somebody saying I will step out from this confrontation. I'm neutral regarding AI generated images, but I do despise AI bros that use it for everything. AI generated images can be good, or for getting inspiration. We've done that sometimes. Somebody up at here was like, here's some images, and then I redraw it. It's like cleansed through my artistic sort of interpretation. That's pretty fun. There's Patrick Stay saying I was once in a book club discussing my favorite comic book, The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. We concluded that what makes it great is that Neil just really loves mythology and he got to write it. I do sometimes wonder about in all of the books that I am going to read with my limited time on Earth now, I do wonder which of them will be those. I'm being greatly encouraged to marry your friend with the spam tipping naturals, and she has sent me video about Math the Final Boss. It is a less than a minute video. I will indeed view this on the stream. I do declare. I do believe. I'm gonna make this clickable on the Discord, but so anonymously for your mystery. And there's sharing the AI archaeology conspiracy accounts. It is terribly alarming how much conspiracy can now ramp up due to all of this. Alright, let's make this clickable indeed. Sometimes I feel like the title of the channel up in here, watch or listen to this, is up in here. And also I feel that it's important to note that you genuinely cannot tell if somebody is a rapist just from their work. What is here in the... This isn't sped up, is it? Just a final boss of math? Did somebody make this in a calculator? Desmos. Okay, but... Why, thank you, my dearest girlfriend, for the recommendations of what in the world can be done in a calculator. Oh my gosh. How incredible. Oh, with a little bit of music behind that. That's incredible. And what goes on here? It's a little bit... Of all the things that I do or don't have emotions about, Neil Gaiman is one of the things that I wish could be less meaningful to me, having never read some of his work. It is strange to think about, since it was so incredibly highly recommended. However, if you haven't read the account of it, it's tough to tell, whether it's worthwhile to read the account of what happened. That that he mistreated a woman so severely and sexually in front of his child that his child started calling her slave, because that was the name that his child knew that person by. That is a disgusting detail, and the least of it as well. And I don't know, I'm trying to think whether I would want to know more or less for somebody whose art that I really liked a lot of. I know that the lead singer of Arcade Fire was also bad in some capacity, and I read some account of it, but it's the type of the songs of this band are so meaningful to me that it's almost difficult to hold on to. It doesn't make any sense to say that. It's almost difficult to hold on to the stories and like force yourself to be familiar with them or something. There's Nico Juju saying, I'm surprised this stream is still ongoing. Anyway, hello for the second time. Hello to you, Nico Juju. I don't know. And so, in what direction is this going? Hi, Jinx Arcade. Sometimes I am afraid to talk to you because you do default to personal attacks. There was a better way to say that. That's all there is to it, I guess. Sometimes I'm afraid to talk to you. Actively scared. I can't tell if a documentary would go in true and meaningful, or if a hug could go into true and meaningful. I get some texts from my dear up in here showing us things that can be in a calculator program. It does make me smile to hear from you always. Oh. My girlfriend has drawn a weed diamond from memory. White diamond with a rough 6,000 years. Oh my gosh. I do enjoy that some art can be together. I don't suppose that I can ever convince you to hang out in the magma one of these times. I don't know. I think they let you make various names. You could have various names. Still, this is quite fun. And drawing with a pen on paper is easier to get the hang of, too. So, true and meaningful things might be Disco Elysium, a critique of capitalism, and people can make art inspired by things that they don't like is where that's from. I wish that I don't know, felt more emotionally stable this week. I wish that it were easier to get through. Instead, I can simply plug in my phone. There's somebody saying, let's change the topic of the conversation, please. We're all here to chill and be friends. And Charo, marry her. Oh my gosh. I'm detecting some amount of advice there. I'm detecting some amount of advice. Oh, it wasn't a 3D attempt. It was a third attempt for sure. Ah. It is it is funny to try to think of what is true and meaningful and all of this. That it could evolve into this sort of a topic. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a position in itself on AI discussion and stuff, is just recognizing that it is rightfully so emotionally charged that in many spaces you will not be able to have a productive conversation about it. And this is strange to think about because it's not going away. So I wonder what positions will change, because obviously artists, being the excellent communicators that they are, supportive of each other as they are, being able to find meaning in life as they are. This isn't a very changing the topic, I know. But I think that artists are such excellent communicators that this outcry against AI images, it cannot fade, it cannot be easily reshaped. It's a type of emotion that is going to be very effectively human and algorithm driven, even as AI proliferates and persists. I guess I wonder about the adaptation or lack thereof that will come in the future, because I want all of my favorite artists to be employed and secure, and for creativity itself to have a future. I want that so much. I want people to be able to discover the nitty-gritty parts of working on your own project, where you stare into your own thoughts for so long, no help, unassisted, whatever the hell, that you think of things that you wouldn't have otherwise thought of, and that deliberation is a part of the creative process, a deliberation that AI has the potential to skip over. And I want that to continue, but a refusal to speak of AI or consider it as it continues to surround us, it feels like the people that I care so deeply about, creatives, I don't know, maybe unable to adapt or evolve. It's strange to think about, because you will be unable to spot AI generated content for as long as it's possible to spot it. If you do not view it, if you shun it, well, there's an entire diatribe there. I don't know what it says about me that when somebody says, let's change the topic, I say, okay, last words, paragraph, what it do. This entire time, for like a full hour now, I've been wanting to dislodge a snot. Let's mute this, I suppose. We're dislodging it. And an unmute. And there's somebody saying it can be a 3D attempt to 4D, a tesseract of an attempt. She's still here. She's still here. My God. Ah. My girlfriend adding to the conversation, the Pandora's box of AI doesn't close so easily. It makes a new sort of paradigm, sorting out the people who care about art from the ones who just care about having pretty things to look at. I don't know if I've said this before, but for the comic artist who worked so hard on creating the same character in different poses again and again and again, for comic panels that get scrolled over in 1 second, and she worked to the point where she had a miscarriage. For that type of commercialized art, I would hope that technology could take some of the burden off, such that you won't, work yourself to the bone. And yet I don't see it happening in this way, And you're saying that some people just want quick, cheap, and who the hell cares? Others want to support people, others care, right? I do wonder, I hope that art itself will have a long era of being an expression of care. Patrick stays saying, perhaps meaningfulness is a moving target. Like, once an important thing is said publicly, it will eventually become common and thus not meaningful. Okay. And I do think that common things can be meaningful as well. I mean, falling in love is one. It's the most common thing in the world. It's happened across so many humans, across forever and eternity, and yet it feels novel to people. They're saying we need tools to amplify the work of discernment audiences. Work of discernment audiences seeking meaning in art we are doing. And the healing frequencies of snorfing my nose out would have healed the chat. Hey, anytime. 60 saying, I agree with you, GF. This isn't bad for artists. This just exposes those who care from those who don't and who want fast stuff. Artists won't lose genuine jobs, just jobs from people that didn't care for them in the first place. At the same time, it hurts to think that it's now predicated on that, because some people were making a living, were sending their kids to school from cash from somebody who didn't care. And now that person who didn't care has the infinitely cheaper options to replace them. There was, I read the testimony of this one fellow who used to commission furry artists and turned to image generation instead. And this person used to shell out in the hundreds or something. It's weird to think about. There's just pain all wrapped up in whatever way this change takes it. Let's get some erase up in here. At the very least, despite seeing the praises being sung for what AI is and what it do for the future, because we've seen it, I've seen it, you've seen it, we've all seen tech bros being like, AI makes it so that anyone can be an artist. No, wait. You type into me on a computer, you could be an artist. You have to lower your standards and build up from there, but you can make something true and beautiful, and it doesn't have to be super skilled at first. It's like people saying that it makes it more accessible. More accessible do crack me up, because if it were the super tool that they say it is, it's been out for long enough that if it's that powerful, there should be a generation defining. If it were what they say it is, there should be a generation defining artwork to come out of it already. But the fact that there isn't, the fact that there's not a Romeo and Juliet Undertale, if I may be so bold, that there's not any of these things, not yet, says to me that something is very much missing from people's attempts at this. Patrick State is saying, it's a searching and sorting problem. Not all human-generated art is meaningful. Not all AI art is devoid of meaning. That's just the general trend. And here we are in this environment, primed to create more information than ever before. A little Susie appearing on a color palette. I actually created this entirely new Magma account because the previous one got full. I meant to delete these weekly. And yet, here I go, creating a bunch of information that can scarcely be accessed. It comes from my hands and someone else's. It's meaningful in that it is fun, in that it is a game that we played together, a mango that we drew a face on at some junction of time this year. Oh my god. Yeah, meaningfulness can come from memories of this as well, I suppose. Take me out, take me out, take me out, take me back out of here. Take me back out of here. There's talk of people who weren't buying commissions to begin with still aren't. That is another thing, I suppose. It's like the shock of seeing the artist discussions being like, this is taking away someone's livelihood, to then seeing r/ChatGPT go up on the front page of Reddit, and there's 1,000 people asking the machine, hey, make an image of how you view me. What do you think of me as an image? Those 1,000 people were not going to commission an artist for that purpose, indeed. And my girlfriend says, I can show you the most true art I've ever seen, the most stunning and life-changing art ever. If I may set eyes upon it, if I may, and yet can it be more artisanal than yourself? Not to flirt too intensely, not to. Of all the things to devolve into stuttering about, there's Patrick State saying the quality, in quotation marks, of AI art can skyrocket a low-effort work to the front of the world's attention. Can skyrocket a low-effort work to the front of the world's attention. Hopefully this does not last. Why? my dear, my darling, my sweet potato, why are you... Why do you still have an image of me with a massive pancake straight up hanging out the mouth? Straight up. I took that picture and I wouldn't even know where to find that if I tried. Okay. Okay. Feeling artisanal, I suppose. Wow. And it is strange to think about how photography was sort of a part of this like ongoing discussion of technology versus the art. There's what I'm feeling very telepathic messages of marriage in the midst of these pancake memories. My goodness. There's being texted by my mom at the same time as the stream goes on. How interesting, how peculiar, how amazing of a huge pancake. Alright, here I am, an hour and 40 minutes into the stream. I had some ideas about what would happen here. And my initial ideas, honestly, for what could be drawn here, as I've got this limited color palette. I mean, okay. I'm officially failing to change the subject a million times over a million ways. But I have been, and this is funny to slot into the discussions of the AI images, I have been wondering about ways that I can creatively steal in my own artwork. This color palette is from the webcomic Riton Joy's Tragic Comedy. I don't know if I've sent that in the Discord before, but it's so gorgeous. It's worth every look. It is so much. It is everything. And I don't know what this is, where I should pin this exactly, what I should call this, where it comes from, because creativity, as I understand it, that concept comes from a book on memory. It comes from the book Moonwalking with Einstein, where you just combine the concept of creativity as it was, put into my impressionable teenage mind, came from combining existing ideas until you get something that you've never seen before. And to people struggling with creativity for the first time, like here's Susie, a purple dinosaur or something like that. Here's female blonde Rudolph. The red-nosed reindeer. What is creativity? What can you say that has not been said before? I've had this conception of creativity for a long time, and I don't want to slot that into making AI art defensible, because that's not what that means. It doesn't take away the problems of here's this disruptive thing that can be made cheaply as per infinity. It doesn't take away that. And then there's putting limited in quotations. Is this not a limited color palette? Is that what I'm seeing right here? Is that what I'm seeing right here? But yeah, in terms of incorporating theft into your creativity, and by theft I mean inspiration, because I've seen so many people look at this goddamn gorgeous art. Holy moly. Jeez Louise, every day, I wish that I could one day have a fraction, or no, you know what? I'll have some confidence in my artistic ability. I have a fraction. Have more than a fraction. Have this level of art skill every day, I hope and pray. It's and there is a sick, and I say this in exaggerated language, a sick thought within me that cynically looks at the nature of creativity and asks myself, hey, if an artist isn't using their old art style and you still really like it, why not try to replicate that with your own damn hands? Where does that come from? That still feels like a type of creativity that is maybe no different from inspiration as I understand it, but it's certainly influenced by ideas of what will be successful, what will be popular, and I think that this sort of corrupting, if we want to call it that, this influencing element in art cannot be avoided, and as the entire artistic community unites against AI art. I think that I wonder if discussions about how much algorithms were already influencing your creative process, I wonder if that will be drowned out, if that will be lost. And there's somebody saying, absorb art, don't just go for the pretty art. Sometimes you can get inspired by ugly art too. And yes, do steal if you find an eye style pretty or face style, etc. Draw it down, absorb it, practice it. And it is kind of funny to think of labeling the urge to creatively steal as very nasty when I cannot replicate it, actually. I have so much confidence in my abilities. It goes up and down. But whatever I attempt to steal would inevitably be transformed through my attempts to replicate it, because it has to go through me. And then there's Okay, my darling. Okay, my dear. Asking me to draw something in a limited color palette with some diamond emojis. If I may just show you for a moment how these showed up on my screen, because we might get a different sort of all of this. Let me just send that also in the Discord. That's my extreme shortcut from here to there. Let's see it. Okay, so this is what the palette is showing up as on my phone. A mini Chris with yellow diamonds palette, a mini Susie with blue diamonds, a mini Noelle with pink diamonds, and then for the Grand Supreme Gem White Diamond Birdly. I don't think it's gonna look significantly different unless, of course, I mash it up with the outfits. Let's go on with the outfits. Let's see it. So she's saying, don't just steal from one source, though. That's the trick. That is another thing, because although as nefarious as I may think of myself sometimes in my plots to steal the early art style of Yumi's cells, there's no way that I could limit myself to just one inspiration, and thus the nefariousness of plagiarism is thwarted once again and refreshed into this was just ordinary creativity all along. All right, let me look at this. Let me look at this. What am I doing? Okay, so we are seeing the same colors of these things. Well, just a bit left in this stream. I have focused about as much as I thought was possible for me. I thought for a second that maybe I would draw every character reference sheet for Art Fight possible. I thought maybe for a second that I would do everything humanly possible, but maybe these streams are indeed for the limited sort of doodles, for the fun and one-off ideas. There's like he's saying, do you prefer a pretty style or a unique one? If you try to go for pretty, you might find yourself struggling to stand out, but a unique art style can be simple as long as it has charm and emotion. I'm straight up a snob against certain art styles. The early 2000s, I hate to say it. Early 2000s, when somebody did the, I don't know, pointy anime hair on the deviant art and they shade it with gray coloring and the pure white highlights, I am straight up biased against that. And maybe I just have my biases. So there's Lady saying, can I go back to joking? It's been 2 long serious streams. No, we serious now, dang. Oh dear, oh my gosh. So what do I look at? A little Chris in a yellow diamond, and then how fast can I go? Chris, but specifically Deltarune. Chris Deltarune. What What traits do you have? Oh. Okay, this is kind of funny. This is kind of funny. This is kind of funny indeed. Okay, so if I just type really quick, if I just type a okay, so that's not gonna let me do it. If I just type a yellow, sort of a diamond, yellow diamond, but specifically a Steven Universe, can I peep the color palette? Oh, they have different things in different lighting. Wow, this is cute. Wow, this is cute. I can have nostalgia all the time. What in the world were these theories? Ah. Alright, let's do some direct color palettes. Let's do some direct color palette. My god, what a massive image. There's Patrick Stay saying it's hard to joke around when there are things we don't know if we can say. Oh. My apologies for the, I don't know, mercurial nature of the tone in here. I have not censored any topics on purpose, although I do know that YouTube has filters, and I guess everything we've said so far is technically okay to say. That's not an answer. That's the strangled mouth sounds of somebody who knows they're confused. Alright, you had asked if I prefer a pretty art style or a unique one. I replied that I am biased against certain art styles. I will say that I have a wide definition of beauty, though. Art styles that show it. Okay, and my definition of beauty is wrapped up in my understanding of what is technically impressive, and that's something that comes from having studied art and wanting to know more of it. It has changed what I think of as beautiful, studying art. And so anything that demonstrates that the artist has a capacity to rotate an object or understand the behavior of the human body in 3D space as it rotates, those art styles are beautiful to me, generally. And it's a little bit difficult to define it beyond that. Can I get some different brush settings up in here? Can I get anything? Or is it destined to be perfectly round? What can I do? The roundness is messing with me, not gonna lie. So he's saying, I've said pretty messed up jokes, I think. As long as you don't insult anyone, any joke is welcome. There's Patrick Stay saying, when I was in Las Vegas, I visited a magic crystal shop. It reminded me of Steven Universe. Oh my. How terribly fun. How very nice. I keep getting... Okay, it happens whenever I visit a place. When I keep getting videos suggested to me of places to eat in the Las Vegas, and I keep not being able to go to those places, and I keep being incredibly hungry until the end of my days, I suppose. And this kind of happened when I got to visit the Philippines. Now I'm just subscribed to the local subreddits that only get suggested to you if you are in the area, apparently. I subscribe to all of them thinking that it would encourage me to learn the language. But that is an entire process, and as such, I still have not learned the language. But the minute I do, I'm gonna be so prepared. I'm gonna be so on board with reading everyone's problems about their mothers, as you do on Reddit. All right, what am I doing? A little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of... Is it staggered? It is kind of funny to me how crystal shops are now, without meaning to, they are now Steven Universe merch shops. They don't know that they are, and no one can tell them that they are only that. but they are nevertheless. Alright, so here is this. Here is this, and the roundness of your head. And this saying, I'm a bit skeptical of magic rocks, but the lady running the shop was so nice and passionate about her work, I felt compelled to buy a $5 rose quartz. Oh dear. Oh dear. I do get salespersoned too sometimes. One time I got so parasocial. I can barely make myself say this. One time I got so parasocial with the YouTuber Lily Singh that I bought her book. I haven't read her book. I don't even know where it is in my house anymore, but I believed in her journey of struggling to write that book, and the story behind it, just it's like central feature as a vlog piece that I went out my little teenage self, hauled ass to the Target and went, yup, here I go, supporting Lily Singh. It's working on me. Oh my god. And this, Lily saying, magic rocks don't work with me no matter how many I eat. Hey, that's what quitters say right before they stop eating magic rocks too soon. That's what quitters say. You just need one more magic rock. If I can just convince you here for a second. Alright, so here is something going on here. And the prompt, I believe, was Chris Deltarune in Yellow Diamond color palette. It appears that we do in fact have some pure darkness. Let's get some hair up in here. We're keeping this thing on as a helmet, but we're going like this. Yeah, a helmet and just a wad of hair, of bangs. But then if you're in the yellow color palette, that is sharing some color traits with, what is that, Frisk in the Undertale? And then the shoulder pads seem accurate to, like, okay, I should have gone into the color palette more thoughtfully, more intentionally. Some art is made without intention. I hate to say it. My intentions, they are not freaking focused. They can, of course, be corrected according to intention, but here we go with a little cape. And it goes like this. There's Patrick saying, I told the lady I wanted a magic stone that would get me a girlfriend. She said it didn't work like that, but the rose quartz anyway. I feel like, well, I don't know if this would work, but the theatrics of it appeal to me such that I wish to say it. I feel like if you got into crystals, genuinely, and perhaps also with a little sprinkling on the side, if you got into tarot, and if you got into horoscopes, then it could maybe attract girlfriend. The girlfriend would be into all of those necessarily as sort of a part of that. So take this as you will, but it seems so possible to me. It feels like the logic is there, feels like the function is ready. It just needs to be executed. All right, the hell am I looking at now? And the Suki saying, fine, I'll spend my savings in shiny rocks. Save some money for the dentist though. That's spoken like somebody who hasn't replaced your teeth with shiny rocks yet. Listen to me on this. Alright, here's more of an outfit going on. The amount of armor is similar, I want to say. And I can't decide whether I want to finish this particular Chris Deltarune up and head out of here, or if I want to scribble a few more for sillies. Okay, I'm feeling silly. We'll do a couple of the color palettes. What in the world are you? Oh my god. Of all of the username changes I don't notice. Of all of the username changes that I only notice at the last second. There's teeth that are better to eat you with. And talk of the 4-carat diamond that will get you a girlfriend. It feels as if bird logic is here. It feels as if bird logic is here. Alright, here is a little bit more of dark colors. I want to say that more than once I have thought about what would happen if I just mash up two of my favorite characters and put that into an original story and tell no one perhaps, and then I've simply written what is sort of maybe a fan fiction of my favorite stories. However, it is so unrecognizable that it's tough to even call it that. Oh my stars, you are eating the diamonds. Oh my god. Well, we've got the perfect face for that. And even more incredible events shall happen to you. Why is this rotating more than usual? Oh, I feel like a limited amount of silly doodle, and then I'm out of here because the snot things that are happening with this lingering amount of sickness are truly strange. What does a dentist look like? Big light dish on top of your head. It is funny to see these on cartoon doctors and know that they were for reflecting light onto a patient so that you could see clearly, but now they're only a feature of cartoon doctors, much like the one that I'm drawing right now. Little bit like this, little bit like this, and here is a very happy dentist who is going to charge you $1 gazillion. There you go. Patrick's Slate telling us that the magic spirit in the rose quartz tried its best, I guess. I kept thinking about relationships more than usual, and I guess I was more confident. Still, the thoughts were just annoying, and no Jeff. Oh my goodness. I wish that there were a type of hack to apply as dating advice that doesn't sound, I don't know, totally unhinged. Strike that, reverse it. I'm only interested in the unhinged types of advice. I'm of many serious opinions, such as I think that people insecure about dating for the first time should date each other, but like as a test round, like as a fake relationship, and then after they do the fake relationship, then they can stop overthinking it. This is different from the problem in general of finding GF through the power of rose quartz. Let's do dentist things. Let's do dentist things. Is this what dentist hands look like? I'm a little bit overdue for a checkup, I want to say. So I wouldn't even know what a dentist hand would look like if it slapped me with it. Alright, go like this. Dentists are always having the proportions of a toddler. The head is basically as large as the body. Just go like this, go like this. I think that sorry to have a weird and sudden silence. I just wondered whether I should commit to the opinion that perhaps people should, seriously commit, go straight to cohabitating for stupider reasons, and, form relationships based on that. I think that people should get into even stupider relationships. This is easy for me to say. Because I'm just in a nice relationship. Heck yeah. And so it's as if I am sitting back and encouraging other people to fight like dogs while I sit back and eat popcorn. And that is evil of me. I should mind that it is evil and bad, and I should not encourage people to do that. However, it was really funny for a second inside of my head. It's so funny. I almost straight up laughed, which is why I said that. Alright, so you need to eat more rocks. And you went to the dentist yesterday. Oh my gosh. Look at clean teeth over here. Big smile for everybody. There's stereotypical dentists. Don't fall into stereotypes. I wonder about the value of stereotypes as well. In designing characters, I do wonder what biases I run into. I definitely want to be aware of my biases so I can swerve in another direction and find something truly cool. Alright, what else goes on here? A little bit of gauntlets happening. Something. This is asking if I'm a hikikomori and think the most compatible partner for me would be another hikikomori. How can I date one? They won't want to go out, and neither I. That's why I can join people to gain courage. And eventually, when you gain enough courage, you'll find another entirely conjoined shut-in. Well, now that's strategization. Now that's incredibly strategic of you. Alright, here is a couple of gauntlets, and then your ordinary, I guess what I've assigned as a skin tone instead of bright cyan. Alright, go like that. And you now look related to Lego people. There's Patrick saying, yeah, cohabitating is awesome. Dating is a pain. It's really hard and expensive to schedule time together. I feel like... And okay, this is probably a sign that I've been reading too many of the cookie cutter identical comics. A really common trope is that there's a contract marriage. You skip the whole messiness of dating, and then you get engaged to someone for business reasons, whatever those reasons may be. And maybe this has distorted my perception of reality, because I think maybe people could be amenable to it if I started some type of a dating app, other reasons to learn to code, put one more dating app into the world, God, why? But if I started a dating app that worked solely on strange contractual relationships, where you're not like, hello, I'm here to find my true love. You're like, hello, I hate doing the dishes, but I can do this, this, and this, and my reviews as a human being on Yelp all say that I'm so psychologically stable. Actually, that one's a Black Mirror episode, so we're going to strike that last part and only go for the strange contractual nature of relationships. Because we've been provided with so many ways to separate and judge from each other in this digital age, so many ways to be alienated from each other. So, while it may seem methodical and weird to predefine relationships like that, perhaps it's only honest in response to the reality we've been given to handle reality in that way. There's no. So dating, you're saying, is a pain. It's really hard and expensive to schedule time together. I've only ever dated my dear online, so I do wonder what it all means. Patrick saying, that's a new idea. Just write a contract and find someone who will sign it, right? You just and you define what goes into it beforehand. And this sort of implies that you could do the same for friendships as well, which I guess could be akin to starting a lot of clubs or something. And also this might be in the Apple TV Plus show Murderbot, which is about a robot, and therefore I am obsessed with it. Whenever there's a fictional robot, I'm obsessed with it. It's sort of a constant of me. And contracts though. Okay, contract friendship. You just go up in there and you're like, we watch movies together, and the contract could be expanded to include the definition of having some food together or something. I'm available on these times, and then I'll see you there, and then it takes away the, I don't know, resistance that you may find within yourself to asking any friends to, I don't know, spend time with you, because you could just be like, I don't know, here we have a structure. I should get checked for autism sometime. Not today, but sometime. Alright, so, this is Patrick Stay saying, I wish dating apps work better. It is funny to see people's, videos about how they, specifically this one woman's TED Talk about how she hacked her dating app. It was, like, she raised her expectations. It was so incredibly data-based that it's definitely a sit down, dedicate a weekend to it kind of project. But apparently dating apps are fixable, I think. At least they were for this one woman who gave a TED Talk 10 years ago and found a soulmate. Okay, there's my girlfriend texting me a relationship that started because of me being flirty. Yeah, completely and utterly. I can only be really cute. I think that my I do wonder if I get this concept of really structured wanting to know about people, like from my mom or something. Well, that's strange to wonder about. What else did I want to scribble before I'm out of here? A little Susie in a blue diamond sort of color palette. Sure, what can Susie look like? What can be here? There's Patrick State saying, what happens if the fictional robot breaks the contract? I really jumped tracks there for a moment. Oh, the fictional robot. It's not a spoiler to say this. The premise of the show is that the fictional robot breaks the contract that's like, don't harm humans. It's not a full Isaac Asimov laws of robotics type of thing. But but the robot is, as far as I can tell, asexual, aromantic, and I have this opinion very strongly, but I don't think that I'm going to make myself say it in another context, because I feel like buried at hour 2 and 17 minutes of a stream that very few people will see. I feel like burying this strong opinion of mine is the perfect place to put this. I just feel like if the show were not on Apple TV Plus, and if people weren't absolutely cracked in the head these days, I feel like Murderbot would be another like little idol that a bunch of dudes like questionably look up to. I feel like it's like a heroic idol figure, because and here's the part where I'm probably not going to say this again unless I can formulate the maximally entertaining way to say it and it turns into a little video essay or something. But I just keep going into comment sections and seeing people complaining about the show Murderbot being woke. But the protagonist, if you don't know any better, to the untrained eye, the protagonist appears to be this like strong, heroic white guy who is always right and murders stuff and is relatable. There's more to it than that, of course. It's this genderless, asexual robot with literally no balls. Because it's some well thought through science fiction, so why would you have the balls it's a security robot. You get a different robot if you want the balls. But but I'm truly dying over how many people apparently just assign the show as being woke just because some of the background characters are non-binary and also polyamorous and also multicultural and also space hippies. But they're space hippies in like the future or something. What would you, oh commenter of the internet, write for space hippies other than exactly that? Okay, this entire diatribe has been living inside of me for weeks at this point. Nobody asked for it. I had to say it. Doomzilla, what in the world? I'm almost through this entire stream. Hello. You caught me right in the middle of a passionate diatribe about a TV show that, of course, nobody else can see because it's on Apple TV Plus. But I love it so much, and this hurts me. This hurts me very much. Alright, so here's a little bit of that. There's Patrick State, who knew a guy who used bots to game dating apps. I guess it's a strategy. Did homie achieve his goals? Did he achieve his goals? I'm so curious now. What were the goals, first of all, and were they achieved? Well, there's saying you talk about robots, but my vacuum is not asexual because it got the suck. Okay, I'm gonna mute again because bad things are happening with my sickness of nose. Here we go with mute. And we're back in sound. Absolutely honking the schnoz. This is saying so close to 3 hours, Kia would be proud. Oh, okay, where have you gone? Alright, so, then messages I have missed from YouTube is, are you telling me to design a job contract with a hidden marriage contract that I have to make them sign and they're legally married to me? Is it that easy? God, that could be the plot of a horror movie. Yeah, it might be that easy. Depends on what country you're in. Depends on if they enforce their corruption or not. Oh my god. I'm so scared all of a sudden. Alright, so here is more of this. Get a little bit of the color palette and we can draw a little Susie. Getting boozy with Susie. No, they are child. Please. Oh my god. Oh my god. Get over here. And I guess the capstone, the conclusion of my little diatribe was that I love the show Murderbot so much, and if it were on any platform other than Apple TV Plus, people would actually watch it, and then the Murderbot would necessarily become an icon like Neo or the Joker or Walter White or whoever was in Fight Club. And become maybe Patrick Bateman, like any of these, but kind of wholesome. I wanna say it's not impossible. Like, he's an awkward character. Is this robot who gets sentient and is partially organic and all of that, gets sentient and free and just nerds out over TV shows. I love that so much. Why are you saying Murderbot more like Murderboater? I ask you why, but then I instantly giggle and the why is answered because it is silly funny. Hello to Doomzilla saying, oh Jay, I forgot to tell you, guess what? I make 3D models for people now. I know I'm very Sigma. You are incredibly Sigma. Oh my god. Oh my god, I've been wanting to try to learn how to use a 3D modeling program now for ages. I have put it off for 1 million years, and now here you are, growing up from the dirt, where I assume everyone grows up from, like a little bean sprout. And here you go, in a meteoric rise of talent. I'm incredible. I'm incredibly impressed. This, like he's saying, I can make a fake petition and make people sign it, but in reality, is a hidden marriage contract. So many free husbands and wives. This is the life hack of all time. I have to know now if this was the end result of the dude who used bots to game dating apps. If you have multiple bots, then to really win, you should have a multiple marriage to everyone. We're inventing new ways to be unethical. There's Doom's asking how that works. Alright, I'm now looking for a Susie. A Susie in the Deltarune. My god, there's beautiful, awesome art of Susie straight up gnawing on Chris's skull. Here we have, let's do a Susie search and do a little scribble in this art style, or rather in this color palette. And there's my girlfriend suggesting if you want multiple husbands and wives, just start a D&D harem. On the one hand, it is like a part of a conversation that we've had before that it sort of continues out from there. But on the other hand, I love the idea of referring to a D&D harem as if it's a known term that many people may know about, just like McDonald's or hamburger or something. Right. The final doodle. What shall happen? And also, what happens here? For some reason, my settings bungled their own selves. There's Patrick Stay saying, I think he got about 2 encounters a month. My goodness. Okay, wow, dating apps really are hell. Okay. I want so badly to believe that I can listen to a TED Talk and then there's some kind of math behind it that solves all of your problems and is very simple and formulaic. He's saying now you'll just be able to play D&D whenever. Simple and formulaic and makes sense. And yet, Okay, part of me... another thing that I've wondered about in the realm of dating is you make yourself a little business card type thing that says, I love your face. Love your face. Here's my number. I'm giving this card to you with dating intentions. And then you just you just run after you hand it to someone. And then if you give out about maybe 100 of those, and maybe it also has your picture on it, if you run away afterwards, not only do you not have to be rejected in person right away, but also they don't have to feel the pressure of rejecting you. You just get to sort of playground rules, this is how it worked in the first grade. You get to show off how fast you are if you run away after handing someone the business card of, would you date me? I don't know. Handed out 100 of these. I just feel like I feel like this could work. That's what he's saying, but the harem implies the contract was already signed. I have focus within me. I have some amount of focus within me. We're at the 2.5 hour mark. This is more than I ever bargained for. Let's get a little Susie out in here. I love snouted characters. They have so much in common with the Moomins. The Moomins from various things, alright. The rest of your skin goes like this. In a little doodle, you get some massive, chunky, beefy arms, because who's the boss? You're the boss. You are the boss. You are the boss. Win your Susie. There's City saying number. Can I put my Discord username instead? Okay, not to be a million years old, but yeah, you could put whatever information you want. I have many theories, I have many theoretical situations, and I believe in their effectiveness wholeheartedly because I have never tested them, and this allows me to believe whatever I want. Okay, what other colors are we putting in here? We go a little bit darker. We have a are you testing my proclivity, my affinity for characters that have a big old snout? Look, maybe Moomins are simply superior. Maybe that's what happens, you know? Maybe that's what's going on. Na, na, na. I do wonder about these various strategies. Okay, so here's some big old arms, and hopefully I haven't proportionally destroyed all of them. Oh my god. Oh my god. Every now and then I achieve a level of art that makes me wonder if I ever learned art, if I ever studied anything, if I ever understood that the concept behind it is to rotate 2D objects to give the illusion of 3D space, and that's the concept behind art in general. Makes me wonder if I ever went through a boot camp of drawing about 200 boxes so that I could understand 3D space better. Because I've drawn some kind of fuck-ass dinosaur over here. I've drawn some kind of, okay, let's put some hair on the dinosaur. We shake it all about. That's what it's all about. Hey, you put your hair over here. It's kind of from the 80s. You put your hair over there, and it's super freaking fluffy. You do the hokey pokey, and you tell someone you love them. That's what it's all about. Okay, and my how do I wish to say that, if I wish to say that at all? Things that things that things that are texted to me on this wonderful phone in the age of long distance communication. I have an idea for how I would want to say this specifically, but but it pauses up. It pauses up. There, you're saying that this is a decent drawing. What am I talking about? I'm gonna find out what I'm talking about. I suppose. Huh. Susie and Blue Diamond both have a little bit of saturated color going on around their eyes. It's not quite an eye bag for Susie, I want to say. Not quite an eye bag. Go like this? Well, this is very funny to me for some reason. This is highly amusing to me. Get some frowny little eyebrows, and this shall in fact be an excellent sort of scribble to leave off on. Every day, every time I set stylus to tablet, pen to paper, pencil to sticky note, I ask myself, what is the value of the art that I have just made? Putting some yellow on this one. Even though that stands out in a kind of a spooky sort of way, putting some yellow on this one. Wow. I feel like I've created Evil Susie. I don't know if that has any canon precedent, since I'm not up to date and whatnot. This feels so evil right now. God, that's the funniest thing that I encounter about being an atheist straight up. I still get superstitious vibes. I still, whatever thing causes my ancestors to believe in spirits and get converted to religions, whatever biological impulse that is within me, I still have it. I still am atheist. But also, I do get the heebie-jeebies. No, no, my love, I am not pastafarian. Okay, I could probably be tempted into committing into pastafarianism. There's and you're just throwing out a price tag of $4,800 US. Okay, when do I want to declare this very silly sketch? When do I want to declare it finished and completed? And why do I interpret Susie as like wearing some ballooning pantaloons? Kind of like this. You got some fun boots going on. Yeah, proportionally I'm scared. I'm scared is what's happening. Wow. Okay. Really evil artworks happening here, going on here. Your pants are the same color as your hair because we don't want to have too much of a cluttered thing going on. Pants the same color as your hair. Wow. Sometimes I make art and I feel straight up bad about it when I finish. Many times, oftentimes. And part of the artistic process is the part where you learn not to hate yourself and just be so chill with it. At least part of my artistic process has been and was and will continue to be. But oh my god, I feel some type of way about this right now. Put your accessories on. Susie, you are glammed out. Huh. If I don't make it clear that those are spike bracelets, does this become Femme Susie? That's not right. None of this is right. Huh. Well, I'm definitely looking at that right now. So you're saying you don't believe in God, but you believe in magic atoms. They exist. They make up ghost spirits, bad luck, karma, astrology, healing crystals, politics, black magic, witches, etc. I just believe at the very limits of science that there's unanswered questions that could be answered one day. I don't really ascribe any sort of animism, any sort of personification to the unknowns, although I have seen like really devout people who believe in all the scientific discoveries and stuff, and they distinctly put God into those unknowns. And you know what? I think that's admirable. I think that's fun. I think that's neat. And and my girlfriend telling me that Susie wears hammer pants or perhaps sweats. Blue Diamond Susie moment. BDSM for short. I'm cracking up out here. As Patrick stays saying, I'm an atheist too. The idea of God or an afterlife seems like wishful thinking to me. I do, however, believe in the infinite redeemability of humans. I want to, or I believe anyone can be good if they want to be. That's a really good sort of mindset to have, I want to believe. Ooh. Oh. Doom had entered the group drawing and given us some Godzillas, some lizards, I believe. Looking excellent. There's Patrick Stay saying, I don't have much hard evidence for this, but I believe it to my core. I believe it because I do. I do wonder if I'm okay. So I'm in my first philosophy class for the very first time. I have never taken a philosophy class, and I wonder if ways of thinking about it, about morality, about if things can be. Oh my goodness, Patrick State had come into the group drawing as well. If redeemability can be believed in, I wonder if it will touch upon that, because so far what I'm getting is the entire history of thinking. The entire history of thinking about thinking, which is funny and interesting in its own right, because people used to think that, I don't know, apparently there was like a phase of history where dudes in Greece tried to find out what underlying principle was with everything. They were like, maybe it's air, maybe it's earth, maybe it's the mind, a lot of things like that. And one dude got like really close to atoms, astonishingly close to atoms. Oh my, a little hat appears on top of you in greeting. How warm, how friendly. Hopefully it's indeed okay. I shall draw a little smiley face quite close by, and wonder if I had any remaining thoughts about this, about being an atheist. I do like the thought of believing in the redeemability of everyone. And probably that's a very healthy mindset to carry into everyday life, because there's a lot of theoreticals that I could maybe get into, trying to think of the most evil person possible and wondering if they could ever be redeemed. But I guess at some point I have to force myself to keep it sort of myopic and sort of give myself moral principles based on treating people well in actual life, in real life, in the scenarios that I have encountered and am likely to encounter, instead of imagining a boogeyman for myself, of being like, oh, would I try to redeem Jeffrey Dahmer or something? Spooky. Because my mind immediately goes there. After hearing the concept of can anyone be redeemed, my mind immediately goes there, but also I haven't encountered Jeffrey Dahmer, and if I did, it wouldn't be within my jurisdiction to redeem such an individual. And yet, the thought experiments are there to be tussled with, and that's a joy of being human, too, on the flip side of that. There's, as he's saying, the most scientific religious posture is agnosticism. If you're atheist, you're also believing in something without proof. You're using faith. Change my mind. I mean, everyone is atheist. Not to be an edgelord on ya, not to fall back on some quote that has been said before. But even my extremely Christian grandmother was an atheist for every god in Hinduism. You know, you are an atheist for Zeus, probably. Big leap of me to say. Thor, Osiris, all of them. There's, so he's saying, can y'all redeem? You still have to serve a few life sentences, oh my god. And then we have demonstrated the shading of a ball. Very cool indeed. I shall put an appreciative little sparkle next to this business, and thus the collaborative art is very appreciated with a hat and a sparkles. There's my girlfriend believes in people like Papyrus does until you're in retail mode, and you're an atheist for Zeno who still owes you money. Okay, being an atheist for something that owes you money is a uniquely funny concept to me, just because it feels like you're being atheist for the concept of them repaying you the money. This has been an extremely thoughtful sort of stream. There's actually saying that's not how it works. Atheist, no theist, not a believer of God, of any God. If you believe in one, you're not an atheist. Straight up, you're gonna make me go into the dictionary. Please define atheist. Please. Yeah, probably I'm gonna be stuck in the dictionary. I'm gonna keep on thinking that My Seventh-day Adventist grandmother was extremely atheist for Zeus because it's a person who disbelieves in the existence of God or gods plural. I'm sorry to be so dictionarian on you. It's the rule follower in me. Patrick stated, talking about the question of sociopaths becomes an issue for me sometimes. Sometimes I assume that the idea is just a way of discounting people as broken and unfixable, and I reject it. And what's interesting about mental health being more and more communicated lately is that you can hear from sociopaths. There's like, I don't know, levels to it. They're living life. They are members of society with wants and needs, and can be talked to, and deserve rights, and may not kill anyone. Well, that's a statement that inherently encases some bias in it. Oh my. There's Patrick Stay saying, other times I accept that sociopathy is theoretically possible, but it doesn't serve me to ever assume anyone I meet is a sociopath, right? I'm very of the same mindset of asking when I encounter like a thought problem, does this serve me though? Or will I be worrying about something that is outside of my control? Or will I be imagining something that objectively makes my life worse? Kind of things like that. There's, so she's saying, in said definition, is there an A before the word God? If not, you're wrong. I'm sorry, but I'm genetically unable to be wrong. And I'm also just so incredibly right about this. Well, it seems that we may be at an impasse. I'm amused to no end. And my girlfriend elaborates to me that, okay, being an atheist for Xenu, okay, it means if it was real, I would have gotten my money by now. It is really fun as well to have certain criteria for belief. It reminds me of the one story, and I'm closing out of here, by the way. Winding down. This is so close to 3 hours, I can't even see how long it is by now. The one story of a kid who prayed to God, please make me a dog, and if you don't, I'll stop believing you, and he didn't, so I did. That's funny as hell. Oh my god. I love a ridiculous little goofy story about it. There's my girlfriend chiming in with all hail the almighty Tom Cruise. I get weirded out thinking about the concept of Tom Cruise. What part of the canvas can I look upon, can I appreciate, so that the concept of Tom Cruise is gone from my mind, and then I'm in a fresh as a daisy sort of a mindset, and then I close out of the stream. I thank you all very much for being here. There's little gay original characters. There's my experiencing this time of 4:10 p.m. and then there's like appreciations for a Susie and a characters with a snout. You know, if this were the 80s, you could make a best-selling children's book about this. I think you could probably still do that these days, but you can do that in the 80s as well. Interesting conversations, everybody. Thank you very much for the excellent company, and I shall try to make the most of the rest of my day. I hope you have a day full of happinesses that are unexpected, and consider watching Murderbot, because it is my favorite show and I love it so much.